This is Bumper to Bumper, the car show. Drive in anxious and cruise out confident. With the best automotive information for your vehicle. And now your hosts, Matt Allen and Dave Riccio.
Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to Bumper Radio. I am Dave Riccio. Matt Allen is out at training. I'm hoping he learned something. But together, he and I are your KTAR car guys, heard here every Saturday from 11 to noon on News 92.3 KTAR. At Bumper to Bumper Radio, we're helping you, the motoring public, have a better overall car experience. If you got car questions, we've got answers. So we encourage you to give us a call at 602-277-5827, 602-277-KTAR, or you can text your questions to 411-923. Today on the Bumper to Bumper Roadmap, a little bit of fact or fiction. We're going to do taking your phone calls and text. In Diagnostic, what are you paying for when you get Diagnostic on your car? I brought in Joel Bartko with Arizona Imports to help me help you with your car. Joel, sometimes people go to the shop, they take their car to the shop at 10 o'clock, and the engine won't run or it gets towed in, and the shop calls them back 3 hours later, and they say, here's what's wrong, and your car's going to be ready today at 3 o'clock, and the car's ready at 3 o'clock. And everything goes smoothly, and they think, oh, that was easy. Those guys must be really good down there at that shop. And then the next customer, their car quits running or it won't start. They take their car to the shop, it's towed in, and the shop calls them back that afternoon, and they say, hey, we don't know what's wrong. We got to do some more testing. And the next day they call, and they say, we don't know what's wrong. We got to do some more testing. And then they call, and they say, we think we need a gonculator valve or something. So the customer says, oh, okay. So they put the gonculator valve on it, and that doesn't fix it. So 2 weeks later, the car is still at the shop, and they've installed a gonculator valve and a twin chrome conductor valve, and the car still doesn't run. Why does that happen at auto shops, Joel? Tell me. Was Shop A the one that had the car fixed the same day? Were they smarter than Shop B? Does Shop B not know what the heck they're doing?
Some days you're in the perfect world, Dave, and some days you're in the real world where things just don't go as planned, and the complexity of the cars is just out of hand today. There's so much to know and so much to do, and it doesn't always go as quick as people would like or expect. There's just very complex cars today.
Well, we break it down this way at my shop, and on my website we even explain it this way because this is hard for customers to understand. You guys that are listening, you're automotive people, you take your car in, and you're customers. Why does that happen? Well, there's different levels of diagnostic. That's what I broke it down into, is 4 levels of diagnostic. We do at our shop what we call a level 1 diagnostic, and that's going to be your typical pattern failure. Sometimes we'll see the same thing happen on a car over and over and over again, and there's what we call cheater websites. So it doesn't matter if we're working on a Maserati or we're working on a Honda, there's technicians that report problems that they found to what we call these cheater websites. And they're not really cheating. I think it saves the consumer a lot of money because why have a technician pull his hair out when somebody's already figured it out once? So it saves the consumer money on diagnostic. But we can go there, we can say, I don't have spark, I don't have fuel. Chances are on this Toyota it's an igniter. So we're going to go with the igniter first to save the hours of diagnostic, and we may just put it on. Those are what we call pattern failures, things that we see on a regular basis. Now, every now and then we run into a problem that's got nothing to do with the pattern failure. We went and we did those easy things first, and we tried those out, but we've got an intermittent issue. Some things where you test a part, you unplug it, and just the very fact that you unplugged it and plugged it back in fixed the problem.
Dave, years ago, we didn't have internet, and we didn't have any of these sites, and we all learned how to fix everything and diagnose as the cars got more complex and the internet came around. I get customers coming every day. Oh, I read on the forum, it could be this or that. And that helps us. But, you got a lot of people, and the internet's never wrong. The internet never lies. We all know that. But there's still the cars that you have to really properly test out, diagnose. There's all different terms. And it takes time, experience, and money to do all that. Because the pattern failures are great. You call me up, the car doesn't run. I know, hey, that car always goes through cam and crank sensors. Let's get a set here right away, try and save. When we're guessing, and I hate to use the word guessing, but it's more than a guess, an educated guess, we're trying to save time and save you money. But once those pattern failures are done, that's when the real work starts to go, where you start doing hardcore diagnostics with scopes and scanners and pin testing and
That's where we start to separate the men from the boys in our business. So guys fresh out of school, he can survive a long time. He can fix a lot of cars with pattern failures. Pattern failures, seen that, know what it is, can fix it. But we throw him a real problem, and he doesn't have the diagnostic skills to, put a scope on it and start looking at it, road test it, and is he even going the wrong direction? So that's where the experience comes in. And probably one of the best guys in town for fixing cars is Joel, so I thought this was a perfect topic for him. At Arizona Imports, whenever I hear somebody with a strange problem, I hate to say it, Joel, you get all the hard ones because you're good at what you do, it is that not only is Joel good at figuring things out, but he's also very well networked. So he knows who to call about what. So when you've got an issue with this and this car, hey, if it's a Nissan problem, the first guy calls Joel. Or if it's an import problem, that's the guy I call a BMW problem. You work on those all the time, but if it's a problem in your shop, it's something you don't work on a regular basis, hey, we just pick up the phone and we call. So that's the one thing that's cool about the independents is we have so much information from all the shops that we know.
And I find, like Dave said with the network, like being in this group that we're in here, the Bumper to Bumper group, if I got something I can't figure out, I have no problem calling someone else in the group and running it by them, trying to get some help. That's the websites, they help us a lot. Sometimes the other guys just run into it. There could be the weirdest problem that no one's ever seen, and it just comes your way. But diagnostics just don't come easy. I mean, everything looks perfect and normal. You can drive the car for 5 days, and no warning light comes on. Customer picks up the car, makes it out of the driveway, and the light comes on. What did you do? You did nothing? You got to figure it out, and it's hard sometimes.
Well, what's the worst is when you're having an issue. Let's just say it's a computer issue on a car. And there is no diagnostic trouble code for a bad computer. You just have to look at logic. Well, we know that 1 + 1 does not equal 2. And we've tested all the inputs into the computer. We've tested all the outputs of the computer, and it still does not work. So then we recommend a computer. But you know what? It's just a magic box. We don't really know what all is going on. We can look at some of the numbers and see when things don't make sense. But one of the things that we do to test for bad computers, we're starting to pin out wires. So we take the connector loose and we're checking ohming out wires, and just the very fact that we unplugged it. It's like my IT guy comes by to fix the computers at the shop, and I've tried everything I know how to do to get this computer to work. He comes by and it starts working. I said, what'd you do? He said, well, I just unplugged it and plugged it back in.
It happens all the time. You unplug a connector, it's a slightly loose connection, you wiggle it, you fix it. That's why sometimes you hit a small bump. But you've got nowadays systems that are tied to everything. You'll get a check engine light for an engine code, and it turns out to be a right front wheel speed sensor in a car. How did you get to that? That's what separates the men from the boys with the time and the knowledge. It just needs to be done the right way.
Well, and I see as consumers why this would be ultra confusing because, hey, I took my car in, they call me 2 hours later, my car's fixed, I'm driving it away, they were real nice, and they even washed my car. It was fantastic. They're heroes. And then the guy that's had the car for 2 weeks, he's definitely the zero because it's like, do you guys not know what you're doing down there? Do I need to go find somebody else? And you go to the next guy, and the next guy, hey, he may get lucky right off the bat, or he may have it for 2 more weeks. So sometimes if you think you have a competent guy who has resources and is able to get it done, stick with him because it's not a situation where it's not keeping him awake at night.
And the one thing I've been asked 100 times over the years is, don't you have that tool you plug in that fixes everything, that magic box? And I want one so bad.
I know. They're super expensive is what I have found, and I just can't afford one yet. But that thing, it plugs in, tells you everything. The one thing I will say, the older the car, the harder they can be to diagnose because we have a lot of things. Joel's got a Toyota Camry at his shop that started at my shop, and it was a crank no start. It died. The guy was coming down to my shop, so he just went ahead and towed it into my shop. We looked at it. We tried the easy pattern fix type things, and it wasn't going to do it, so we referred the guy over to Joel. And, he's looking at it, and he goes to the fuse box, and all the connectors are bad. Well, is that our problem? It's hard to say because, we're seeing an issue. Is that the issue? But as the vehicle gets older, we start to pass more things that are bad in order to find the answer. So that's where it gets a little more complicated. And also, computers and cars have gotten smarter. We got a lot more good information. Also, this OBD2 diagnostic has gotten
You can get a lot
better.
more out of your diagnostics today if you have the proper tools because years ago, if you had a bad oxygen sensor like we discussed earlier, you just get an oxygen sensor code. Doesn't mean it was the oxygen sensor. Nowadays, they'll take one oxygen sensor and there could be 6 different codes just for that same sensor telling you rich, lean, heater, so many different things. You get more out of a new car, absolutely, diagnostics-wise.
Well, if you got questions on your car or anything related to automotive, 602-277-5827, 602-277-KTAR. You're listening to Matt, or Dave. Matt is off, and I've got Joel Bartko in with me to help with your car. You're listening to Bumper to Bumper Radio.
There's nothing more important than family. Hi, Kurt Rock for Kurt's Auto Repair. Family owned and operated and bumper to bumper radio preferred. We've been taking care of Valley families and their auto care needs with a perfect Better Business record for over 27 years. Come experience the difference our ASE Master Techs can make for you and your family at Kurt's Auto Repair. Just east of I-17 at 22nd Avenue and Bell Road, or online at mycarhurts.com. Gas or diesel, foreign or domestic. If your car hurts, take it to Kurt's.
It's really coming down now, and that little voice is saying shoulda, coulda, woulda. You meant to call Kaiko Roofing last storm, but you didn't, did you? Now it's raining cats and dogs, and Mr. Shoulda, coulda, woulda is watching a puddle form on the ceiling. If the roof on your home or business is over 10 years old, get rid of shoulda, coulda, woulda. Call Kaiko Roofing at 602-944-4600 for a free checkup today. At Kaiko, we install peace of mind with the finest materials and the most skilled workers, all backed by the owner's pride guarantee. Flat, foam, tile, or shingle, Kaiko handles them all. From a small leak to a complete new roof, Kaiko has you covered. Since 1994, Kaiko has repaired or replaced tens of thousands of Valley roofs, over 50% of our business coming from referrals or repeat customers. In fact, over 98% of our customers say they would refer us to a friend. For more information and financing options, go to KaikoRoofing.com. Kaiko Roofing. We're crazy about quality.
It sounds like they've just had the accurate automotive experience. We're family owned and operated and have served the Mesa, Tempe, Gilbert communities for over 22 years. We focus on building long-lasting relationships and, oh yeah, listening to you so that we can understand, meet, and exceed your expectations. One location, 14 bays, 88 years of automotive expertise, and a passionate commitment to customer service and excellence. My name is Lee Weatherby, and I approve this message because it's true. We love what we do, and we want to do it for you. Accurate Automotive, the home of friends serving friends.
Fix it or forget it. This is the show that'll help you decide what to do with your car. This is Bumper to Bumper.
Well, welcome back to Bumper Radio. I am Dave Riccio. Matt Allen is out, so I've got Joel Bartko from Arizona Imports in here to help you with your car. We've got wide open lines at 602-277-5827, 602-277-KTAR. Also, you can text us at 411-923 if you're the shy type. But you never know. We might have a good answer for you. We might have an answer where we just made something up. You never know. Hey, one announcement I make weekly that I'm putting out there for auto shops who are listening to this show. It's ASA, Automotive Service Association, and in the past, ASA has been kind of quiet and kind of dormant. Matt and I have joined the board along with Frank Loitz from Desert Car Care, who's the president of the Phoenix chapter of Automotive Service Association, and we are really making an effort to have a good training put on every month. So I'm going to encourage you to sign up. I know I strong-armed Joel. Joel signed up last week, I think. And we also have Gary Elliott, who will be stopping by, and he's going to be strong-arming you also to get signed up. But as a group, we can help raise the bar in the automotive industry as far as standards go so that people are on the same page and we don't have one guy that's totally practicing a completely different auto repair than the next guy, and we can get some reasonability out there. And also training. And Joel and I were talking before the show. I don't think dishonesty in the automotive business is as big of a problem as people that are inept. Because I have a car in my shop where the guy went in for a tune-up, and he asked for a tune-up. They did a tune-up, and now the car doesn't run right, so he took it back to him the very next day, and it had misfire codes in the computer, and they said, well, your transmission is causing you to have misfires. If I can find this technician, I'm going to kill him. I'm being a little facetious. It just is not even true, and it's just bad information. So we don't deal so much with, I don't think he was dishonest. I think maybe he thought he was giving the right answer. But Joel, have you ever seen a transmission cause a misfire?
No, I've seen misfires mistaken as transmission problems all the time.
That happens all the time. So, but I have, he did have a name tag on his shirt, and he did have a blue patch and it looked like a blue seal. I'm not sure, but he was completely inexperienced, and maybe it was a service writer who was inexperienced, and he was relaying bad information to the customer from the technician.
Well, the one thing that caught me out of that quick story was the word tune-up, because unless you're a certain age, you don't even know what a tune-up is no more. Tune-ups, nowadays, they just call it maintenance because engines really... Tune-up is a gone word. It's not done.
They tune themselves, but some of the components wore out in spark plugs and plug wires, and things need cleaning so it continues to do a good job of tuning itself. We've got Brian, Chris, and John on the line, and a couple more open lines at 602-277-5827. But I'm looking at this text here, Joel. The gentleman has a 2004 Toyota 4Runner two-wheel drive. He's got an intermittent shimmy. Believe it's from the right front of the vehicle. Used to shimmy on and off when braking. Replace calipers, rotors, pads. Have checked for playing the ball joints, steering, etc. He's got 164,000 miles. Have rotated the tires. Any ideas, Jeff Wilson? What would you throw out there? We've done everything.
Well, with 164,000, obviously you haven't done everything because it's still there. Just haven't done the right thing yet. Not for lack of trying, it doesn't sound like. Intermittent, I was thinking tire balance, but tire balance usually intermittent. It's usually at certain speeds. I'd be concerned about control arm bushings, tie rods, wheel bearings.
Steering stabilizer?
Yeah. You need to know, does it come at a specific speed? Does it come right after you hit a bump? I mean, it's hard to tell. You've done, and the brake rotors with the rear brakes, drum brakes, where they adjusted, the new rotors getting warped again slightly. It's a little hard to tell that without seeing that.
You know, some of the weird things that we run into in our business, this is back to the cars that are hard to diagnose. Johnny over Jim Winters had this problem where he just could not get the vibration out of this car. And what it ended up being, and the way they figured it out, is they put the brake drum on the balance machine, and they found that the brake drum was way out of balance. Joel, how many times are you thinking brake drum when you're thinking a balance issue?
Not really. I once heard that from Matt one day, told me the same thing, and that's not something you would think about on a normal vibration, but in all the years I've been doing this, and it's over 30 years now, vibrations, noises are some of the hardest things to find, especially as the cars get older.
Well, that's the one thing that Joel and I do together, noises. Joel doesn't have very good hearing. I think he's got selective hearing, and it's whichever ear is facing his wife, I think is I'm teasing. But he can't hear anything, so anytime he's got a noise, he comes over to me. He goes, can we go drive this thing? Because I can't tell what it is, and I can't hear it. And I'll go drive. It'll be obvious to me, but Joel's hearing is a little light. All those years listening to air guns in the shop. We're going to go with Brian in Gilbert. He's got a 2004 Honda Accord. What can we help you with, Brian? You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Yeah, thanks for taking my call, guys.
You bet.
I just got a question similar to the one previous, but my car is shaking when I'm driving at exactly 55 miles an hour to 65 miles an hour. It's only under acceleration that it starts shaking. And once I get past 65, it smooths back out, and it's nice and smooth. Under 55, it's smooth. But 55 to 65, it starts shaking.
Well, when you first started speaking, I was right away thinking tire balance till you threw in the word acceleration.
Yep.
At that point, me and Dave looked at each other. I'm starting to think axles, because an axle is spinning at a certain speed just like a tire, but on acceleration, it gets loaded up.
Yeah, no, and that was when he said certain speed, I'm definitely thinking tires. But those are the little things that we pick up on as technicians, that when people talk to us, we hear, okay, tires, because it's a speed thing, and it's here at this speed and not at the other speed. But as soon as he said acceleration, and I see that more and more. I didn't used to think of axles so much for vibrations, but when it's on acceleration, I'm definitely going with the axles. Thanks so much for the call, Brian. We are going to go with Chris in Buckeye. He's got a 2000 Chevrolet Venture. Go ahead, Chris. You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Hey, how you guys doing today?
Doing good.
Hey, quick question for you. I have a 2000 Chevy Venture van, the automatic transmission. From time to time, it almost seems like that there's a transmission pump that's going out. I don't know if it even has it, but what it does is it's got it shifts really hard. And it does it what I do is I'll pull over to the side of the road, turn it off, give it a couple minutes, turn it back on. It's wonderful. No hard shifting, nothing.
Right. Okay. I know which direction to go on that. A Venture van has GM has a 4T65. And one of the most confusing things about General Motors cars is that when the transmission or the transmission is run by a computer, which has shift solenoids, and it also has speed sensors. And when the computer recognizes a slip or a fault in the transmission, it's going to elevate the line pressure, and it's going to throw it to full, what they call maximum adapt. So very likely in your Venture van, if you were to scan the transmission control module, you would find a code P1811, which is maximum adapt or long shift. Very common code. The other common code is going to be a torque converter code. So we've got a torque converter slip. So it's going to maximize that pressure to try and compensate for that. But you turn the key off and the situation's gone away, and you're like, was I just dreaming, or is the car back to normal? And you're right, it definitely has a pump. Transmissions are hydraulic machines. So there's a pump that is turned off of the engine. Anytime the engine is running, the pump is making pressure. When you do go into that high line pressure, what happens is you'll hear a little bit of a buzzing or a whine from the pump because it can't get fluid fast enough to make up for the demand. So that's a pretty common thing that we see. Just needs a little bit of good diagnostic work. And we are taking phone calls at 602-277-5827. You can also text us at 411-923. I'm Dave Riccio, and today filling in for Matt is Joel from Arizona Imports. We'll be right back.
Hi, this is Greg LaFonsi of Automotive Diagnostic Specialties. Yes, we realize this is a long name to remember, but most of our customers know us simply as ADS. ADS is a family-owned and operated, state-of-the-art, full-service automotive repair facility with an expert staff that has helped us earn the coveted AAA Top Shop Award as one of the best shops in the nation for the second straight year in a row. We are honored, humbled, and dedicated to providing the same level of service to you and your family. We will always strive to get it done right the first time so that you'll leave with a smile on your face after every repair or service. ADS is a bumper-to-bumper radio approved shop with a long name but a short, simple goal. Customer satisfaction is our number one priority, and everything else takes care of itself. Just east of I-10 on Chandler Boulevard, ADS proudly serves Ahwatukee, Chandler, Tempe, Gilbert, and Southeast Phoenix. Stop by or check us out at automotivediagnosticspecialties.com today.
Bobby Jones said, "Golf is the closest game to the game we call life. You get bad breaks from good shots, you get good breaks from bad shots, but you have to play the ball where it lies." Hi, this is Greg Ellis for the Bunker to Bunker Golf Show, inviting you to join us every Saturday morning from 7 to 9 on Arizona Sports, now on 98.7 FM, as we celebrate the great game with the biggest names, tour updates, interviews, and tips to improve your game.
Bunker to Bunker. Golf lives here.
Hi, I'm Scott, General Manager with Whitey's Auto Repair here in South Scottsdale. We built a reputation for quality auto service and repair for over 45 years, and our customers have come to trust us for our recommendations. We value that trust, and that's why when it comes to transmissions, for the past several decades, we have been recommending Tri-City Transmission. They have yet to disappoint. I feel so strongly about it, I wouldn't go anywhere else. Why would you? Google them online today at tricitytransmission.com. Go where the pros go.
World class and in your own backyard. If you live or work in downtown Phoenix, Matt Allen's Virginia Auto Service is just around the corner at 7th Street in Virginia. And for over 19 years, they've been recognized as one of the best auto repair shops in the country. Voted Best Auto Repair by AZ Central, A+ rated by the BBB, 2-year 24,000-mile warranty, and complimentary transportation to and from your home or office. Virginia Auto. They're serious about service. See for yourself. VirginiaAutoservice.com.
Hi, Lisa Henry with Russ Lyon Sotheby's International Realty. Have you been thinking maybe the time is right to move, but you're not sure if you have enough equity in your home or if it really is a good time? Well, home values have increased significantly over the past few years, and interest rates are still historically low. For how long? No one knows. But for every 1% increase in the interest rate, the result is about a 10% loss in purchasing power. So it might be a really great time to sell your home and either upsize or downsize to a new home while the interest rates are still low. Contact me via my website at lisareneehenry.com or direct at 480-330-9530 for a no-obligation market valuation on your home and to hear about our global online marketing plan designed to sell your home quickly for top dollar. Again, that's lisareneehenry.com, 480-330-9530. Come experience the difference a truly customer-focused real estate agent can make.
Summer's winding down, Dave. It's back to school.
Yep. Check out my new Scooby-Doo lunchbox, Matt.
Cool, huh?
Yeah, nice, Shaggy. And did you write your What My Car Did for Summer essay?
What? Is that due?
Join us Saturdays, 11 to noon, for Bumper to Bumper Radio on News Talk 92.3 KTAR.
And for the best car repair and body shops you can trust, it's bumpertobumperradio.com. Drive in anxious, cruise out feeling fine with Bumper to Bumper Radio.
This is Bumper to Bumper, KTAR News on 92.3 FM.
Well, welcome back to Bumper Radio. I am Dave Riccio. Matt Allen is out in training, like I said earlier, hopefully learning something. I brought in Joel Bartko with Arizona Import Specialist in Tempe. He's a neighbor to my shop, Tri-City Transmission. Yesterday when I called Joel, I said, hey, Joel, can you come on in the morning? He said no. And I'm like, really? Joel can't come in? Joel's always happy to come in because he loves car talk and he loves the industry. Joel, why did you say no to coming in today?
Well, today...
Go ahead, hit that.
Well, today was my wife's birthday, and I was supposed to be going out with her, and love my wife and family more than I love cars. Cars come right up there, so that's why. I want to say happy birthday to my wife today and hope she's listening.
Happy birthday, Roseanne. And, what was pretty impressive about you was that when Joel told you I called and he was going to not come on the radio for you, you said, go ahead and go anyway. So, wow.
Probably wanted to get rid of me so she can go out with my daughter and breakfast.
Exactly. So, happy birthday. Before the break, we had a caller. He had a Venture van, 2000 Venture van, and I answered his question. And immediately after the break, Joel said he didn't understand a word you said. It just sounded like wah, 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 lots of money, wah, 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 wah. So I thought it would better answer that question on your Venture van. Basically, the transmission is slipping. In the end, the computer's just compensating for it. So you are looking at more than likely a major transmission repair. I could be wrong, but just from historical, how many times I've seen that vehicle, yes, when you're complaining about an intermittent hard shift that goes away after you cycle the key, if you catch that one early enough in the life cycle, you can fix it without having to do a major transmission repair just by fixing a couple valves, that type of thing. You're going to want to get to a good transmission diagnostician so he can determine that. So thanks so much for the call. And Joel, thank you for the critique about the wah, 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 really expensive.
Well, now I know what it feels like sometimes when I talk to my customers and I'm explaining something too technical and they don't understand, but they don't want to say they don't understand.
Well, they nod their head and they hear wah, 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 600. Okay, when's it going to be done? Well, we're going to go with Ryan in Queen Creek. He's got a 2008 Chevy Silverado. What can we help you with today, Ryan?
Well, I've had the truck since it was brand new. I've done regular services to its transmission and, of course, to everything to it. And in the last, it's got 135,000, 140,000 on it. And in the last 15,000 miles, it's developed when I come to a stoplight or a stop sign, it's shifting. It's like shifting into first. I can feel it. I mean, I'm pretty sure that's what it is. I hear like a tunk, and it feels like it's shifting into first. But I've had trucks before, but they've done that from new. But this one, my question is it a concern that it's just now starting?
Is it a half-ton or a three-quarter ton so I can determine what transmission's in it?
It's a half-ton work truck crew cab.
Okay, so more than likely that's going to be a 4L65E, which has been around for a long time. I don't generally hear complaints about that transmission in downshift clunks. Is it actually right when you come to a stop you feel the clunk?
It's usually, I'm going less than 2 miles an hour or I've stopped. I've got coming to the stop, and just as I'm just about to stop it, I feel it downshift. And it's not real hard. It's not like scratching the tires or anything, but I was just concerned that it's developed now, and if there was something I should be doing to maintenance it to prevent further problems.
Well, I would say I'm not actually thinking that's a transmission problem, and that's one we hear on a regular basis. And I'm looking for key things because I immediately want to know which transmission is because I know what the pattern failures are for that transmission. And that's not a common complaint, downshift clunk on a 4L60. The next thing I was looking for was the mile per hour. How fast are you going? One of the things that we see on this truck, and you also said it was like an extended cab or long bed, it may be a two-piece drive shaft, and I'm thinking of dry splines on the drive shaft.
That's what I was thinking of also, suspension component, drive shaft component being worn out.
And what happens with driveline issues is that there's splines because the suspension has to get longer and shorter. When you first hit the gas to leave a stop, the rear suspension compresses and the drive shaft has to get shorter. When you come up to a stop, you hit the brakes, well, the suspension in the rear actually comes up and the drive shaft has to get longer. So if those splines are dry, you're going to get a little ta-tunk in there. And that's real common on Chevy trucks, Ford trucks. I see it, quite a bit. And the people always think, they got, they come into the transmission shop and they're scared because they know it could be really expensive, and it's really not. So we love to, take it apart, lube up those splines, and send it on the way.
I feel that on Toyota too. I got a Toyota out there I'm driving right now. I feel the same thing all the time.
Hey, we got another text here back from the guy on the 4Runner. We're going to come back to him. We're going to take a phone call. We're going to go with Danny in Glendale on a 2013 Ram. What can we help you with, Danny?
Good morning.
Good morning. What's going on with your truck?
Yeah, it was amazing you took my call right after his because mine was a similar issue. This started at about 8,000 miles and similar clunk. Approaching a stop, upon releasing the brake from a stop, Chrysler replaced, I'm reading the paperwork here, they replaced the propeller shafts and universal joints. They replaced from transmission to back axle at about 17,000 miles on this truck, and I have about 25 on it right now, and it's back again. What do you think?
I've actually had this complaint on a Dodge before, and it was a fairly new Dodge, and it came down to the matchup of the truck. And it was just a bad driveline angle. When you put it in certain situations, you could get some bad feel or drive feel from it, because they make these trucks. They make long beds, they make short beds, they make extended cabs, they make quad cabs, and all kinds of things. Joel, what's coming to your mind?
Well, I'm just wondering how many joints are on that shaft itself. That's what I was wondering. And is it a lifted truck or is it a stock truck?
8,000 miles though he had the issue, and it sounds he's not with us, but 8,000 miles to be having an issue, and to have the dealer put all those components into it, and to be here now, we are so many thousand miles later and we still have the same issue.
It starts to sound to me like it's the nature of that truck and the way it's going to do that forever is what I'm thinking.
Yeah, it may just be inherent in the truck. And the one that I had looked at, the guy came to me, had heard me on the show talking, and he had felt with it with the dealer, and he kept saying, "Hey, I got a problem." They said, "It's normal." He brought it to me, and I drove it, and I definitely felt it. But to them, that was normal. And if you got in the same truck next to it, you know what, the problem was still there. And I had another radio listener where he had a brand new, I think it was a 2013, it was a Ford F-150. And he had leaving a stop, he had a little bit of a vibration. So he took it back in, and they said it's normal. And he put a camper on it, and he weighed it down a little bit, but that set the driveline angle just enough to where he had that vibration under acceleration. And basically, I don't know what the end of that was, but it was part of the truck. So thanks so much for the call, Danny. We are going to go with Ryan again. It's differential problem, H. We're going to go ahead with Ryan. What can I help you with, Ryan?
Hey, there was actually a recall on that drive shaft, the problem you were talking about, and I had the updated part and the drive shaft splines and everything redone at like 80,000 miles.
Okay.
And it's not. I know what that is. I know what that feels like, and this is not it. This is. I'm not an expert, of course. That's why I'm calling you guys, but it feels completely different than what that was.
So you have the same truck or similar truck?
What do you mean? It's a 2008 Chevy Silverado.
Okay.
And you had said that you thought it was the drive shaft, that the splines were dry, but there was, like I said, there was actual recall on that truck for that specific issue.
Okay.
And I had that done by the dealer, and they put the new parts on, the updated parts, and now this is a separate issue, but it doesn't feel anything like the drive shaft, what it was doing.
Okay, I got you. I was confused because we almost felt like 2 drive shaft calls back to back. So to that earlier caller, you may look and see if there is an updated part, for that, and you'll see some of that happening, Joel. As these cars get out there and there's problems, and the factory recognizes the problems, there tends to be superseded parts or updated parts to fix them. Not necessarily recalls, but updated parts.
I was going to just say one thing. If you have a fairly new vehicle and you have a problem and they tell you it's normal, because I went through this with a friend of mine last week, go to the car dealer and say, I want to ride in that one. And if it does the same thing, a friend of mine had a car where the door wasn't lined up right. And they told her they're all like that. And we walked through the car lot and we said, not one of them looks like that. And that was enough to make them fix it the right way. And sometimes things are normal and you have to accept it, but at least let them show you it's normal.
That's a good point, because when is someone just kind of pacifying you getting down the road? Yeah, because they don't really want to dig into it. Because you know what? At the end of the day, human nature, we're all lazy. Do you think that's true, Joel? Is that a fair statement?
Some of us are lazy.
All right. No, maybe not. But, they're like, well, it's not quite right, but it's not that bad. I'm just going to pacify you on it. But you know what? You spent a ton of coin. You bought this new car. They're showing you all these sexy commercials where stuff looks it looks really nice. And, now you bought this car and you're out and you got a big, thick book that goes with it. And it's not right. So absolutely go back. If it's normal, then show me it's normal on the next model over, and then I'll feel better about it. But if you can't, we got to dig into this thing. So
sometimes you see problems that one person never complains about, and the next person's just tuned into it and can't get that noise out of his head. It's just there, and it's really nothing. It is normal, but you get tuned into that noise.
Oh, yeah. I get a little OCD about noises. We got open lines at 602-277-5827, 602-277-KTAR. And if you're the quiet type, you can text us at 411-923. Joel and I are in the studio sweating today because there's no air conditioner here, but we got to keep the door closed so there's no noise.
I didn't know I was getting a sauna.
Well, I've got an email this week from someone. Emailed us at bumpertobumperradio.com, and their question was that they've got a late model import car, and they're getting a quote from their auto shop for a catalytic converter, and they want $1,200 for a catalytic converter. And then they made some phone calls around to some other exhaust type shops, and they can get one for $300. And why is one $1,300 and why is one $300? Joel, I know your answer, so I'm just going to throw this one off to you. Should they buy the $1,300 catalytic converter? Is that shop making an extra $1,000 they're just throwing in their pocket, or what's the difference?
Catalytic converters is one of the components that you need to buy the original equipment piece, the materials inside of it. That's made to last. They should last 150, 200,000 miles nowadays. The aftermarket catalytic converters just do not match up in any way. We won't even use them. On older cars, we got away with them for years. Nowadays, you just can't. You're wasting your money, your time, and to put those in, half the time they cut up your original exhaust system in the first place. It's not the way to go. Spend the money and do that right.
Spend the money and do it right. So is there something special about the factory catalytic converters? Do they got polonium carbide in them, or what's going on there?
They got plutonium and plutonium in there, but they're ridiculous. I know that when we change a catalytic converter now, we buy a new one, they charge us a core so that we give it back so that it can all be recycled and pulled out of there and reused again. We can't even just dispose of them anymore.
Yeah, they're worth a lot of money. That's where they were getting stole. So when we come back, we got open lines at 602-277-5827. We got Joel and Mesa that's going to be coming up next. You're listening to Dave, Matt's out, and Joel's with me on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
It sounds like they've just had the accurate automotive experience. We're family owned and operated and have served the Mesa, Tempe, Gilbert communities for over 22 years. We focus on building long-lasting relationships and, oh yeah, listening to you so that we can understand, meet, and exceed your expectations. One location, 14 bays, 88 years of automotive expertise, and a passionate commitment to customer service and excellence. My name is Lee Weatherby, and I approve this message because it's true. We love what we do, and we want to do it for you. Accurate Automotive, the home of friends serving friends.
There's nothing more important than family. Hi, Kurt Rock for Kurt's Auto Repair. Family owned and operated and bumper-to-bumper radio preferred. We've been taking care of Valley families and their auto care needs with a perfect Better Business record for over 27 years. Come experience the difference our ASE Master Techs can make for you and your family at Kurt's Auto Repair. Just east of I-17 at 22nd Avenue and Bell Road, or online at mycarhurts.com. Gas or diesel, foreign or domestic. If your car hurts, take it to Kurt's.
This is Bumper to Bumper, KTAR News on 92.3 FM.
Well, welcome back to Bumper Radio. I am Dave Riccio. Matt Allen is out, so I've got Joel Bartko from Arizona Import Specialists. He's here even though it's his wife's birthday, but Roseanne just loves him to be a happy guy. So happy birthday, Roseanne. We are talking about auto repair, anything auto repair that you want to talk about. Before the break, we were talking about catalytic converters. So if you're in the market or you've been quoted on a catalytic converter, chances are you're going to want to buy the original equipment catalytic converter unless you just don't care and you're going to sell the car next month. But in that case, you're just making it somebody else's problem. So I don't know if that's the right way to do it. You'll want to stay factory on catalytic converters. There's one other part you want to stay factory on. In factory doesn't mean you got to drive down to the dealership, but that's motor mounts.
Motor mounts. And the one thing I want to say about the catalytic converter is you don't just replace the catalytic converter. You need to know why the catalytic converter failed before you're putting in another one.
Yeah, exactly, because otherwise that one will go bad just as quickly. I've got a couple texts here. Someone on a Chevrolet Malibu wants to know if they should change out their variable valve timing solenoid. They're not having an issue, but just trying to be proactive. My thing on that is just stay up with your oil changes. I see more problems from variable valve timing and solenoids because we got a little lax on our oil changes, and we're starting to plug that stuff up. So what are your thoughts on that, Joel?
I agree with you there. It's not a maintenance item that you would replace. I'd wait to fail. Changing your oil and good filter going to prolong the life of all your components, especially oil-activated solenoids.
Well, we are going to go with Joel in Mesa, not you, Joel, but a Joel caller, on a 2008 Nissan Titan. How can we help you today, Joel? You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
All right, well, I'm calling because anyone named Joel is definitely trustworthy. So, so I have a 2008 Nissan Titan, and for about a year, I've been hunting down a clunk in the rear end area. I've done everything, went to quite a few shops, no one could figure it out. Finally connected my GoPro underneath the truck to see what the heck is going on. Found out that my axle was rotating when I would accelerate. People call it the axle wrap. And come to find out it's because worn out lead springs. Lead springs are expensive as hell. Want to know, like, I've seen those cheap $60 lead spring helpers at, the local stores and stuff. What do you think about those, or should I just spend the $500 and replace my lead springs?
To me, you said the magic word when you said cheap. When you spend cheap, you get cheap. I would put good springs in. You can go to a good spring place. There are places that rebuild your springs that'll be as good as new.
Yeah, we got a couple of spring shops, and that's a good way to save money. We got Dunbar. I think they're still around. I know
Valley Spring Service.
Valley Spring Service. Yeah, get those things looked at. Now, what he's referring to, that axle wrap, even when the car's new and you hooked your GoPro up to it, you would still see the same thing. Because, wherever there's an action, there's a reaction. The tires want to go forward, therefore the housing wants to go backwards. And so that's something that's going to be there off the lot. It's just over time the springs are allowing for more of that. That's why you see on these muscle cars, they locate the, they put some links in there to keep that axle wrap.
The bars, the ladder bars, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. Thanks so much for the call. We're going to go with Kevin in Scottsdale on a 1999 Isuzu Rodeo. How can we help you today, Kevin?
Hi there. I've got a 99 Isuzu. We're trying to get it running for my daughter who's just turning 16. And we've had a problem with this car where the shifting would not go into second or third gear appropriately, sometime race, and then it would finally kick in. Additionally, we were having some issues with the bright lights not going on. When you put the brights on, they wouldn't turn on. Some other issues like the radio not working. We had a repair shop look at the transmission, and they actually had it for several weeks and took it apart and put it together and couldn't figure it out. The same thing was happening. And then when I went to my IT department in my company, who we had a hobbyist that was a repair mechanic, he said it's the computer. So I don't want to dump a lot of money into the car, but I want to try to make it a good car for my daughter. Is that worth something to fix, or does that sound reasonable that it could be the computer?
It could very well be the computer, but I've never put a computer in a 99 Isuzu. I put a lot of other pieces into a 99 Isuzu Rodeo because at this point, that is probably one of the most expensive cars you could own for your daughter. I don't know how many miles are on it. If it's
We've almost got 200,000 miles on it.
yeah, it's going to be that's going to be like a car payment in itself. It's just, you're just going to put the money in the slot. You're going to pull the slot, and then you can put some more money in the slot. That's my initial reaction. I don't want to, it's just an expensive car to drive. The transmission's a 4L30, so I have seen a lot of issues with that. It's a piece of my retirement. Joel, what are you thinking? You got any questions
I'm
for
thinking
him?
the same thing. That car at 200,000 miles, that's one of the few cars with everything you're telling me. I kind of think that car may be done.
Yeah, I don't know that it's a good 16-year-old car, but you know what? You may get lucky with it. I'm not saying that.
Just don't want to see you putting good money to bad money after a certain point.
Yeah, good. In my mind, cars nowadays, they're good for 200,000 miles. That's you're going to spend a bunch of money on it at 100,000 miles, but you're going to get another 100,000 miles out of it.
I fix cars every day now in my shop with 150 to 400,000 miles. And I see cars that are gone at 120 because they just weren't maintained. Those rodeos, we were both looking at each other. We've seen transmission problems left and right with them and other things. That rodeo was a combination of a few different cars when it was built to start.
Well, that transmission is a GM transmission built in France. It's just and they just kind of scabbed it together and they put an overdrive section in it. It actually has two transmission pans on it. The most common electrical issue I see on that transmission is the MLPS. It's on the side of the transmission, or GM actually calls it a Prindle, park reverse neutral. It's a neutral safety switch. It causes all kinds of weird electrical issues on that transmission. That's one of the common ones.
And I have 3 teenage drivers in my life, and they're hard on cars. And that car, I just don't. From what I'm hearing, I don't think you should spend a lot of money on it. I really don't.
No, I'm going to be fully in agreement. And the other problem that I see on Isuzus, we can't get good information when you plug into it with a scanner. Do you have a scanner over there, Joel, that tells you anything on a Isuzu?
Not on a Isuzu, because it's kind of a generic car. It has a GM transmission. Like a Honda Passport. It's a Honda Passport. It has the Honda engine and the GM transmission and a lot of different issues.
One of the things you guys are getting here is just mechanics talking from their heart, because that's a car that when it's in our bay and it's got 200,000 miles, we call the customer, we're just like, man, I hope they don't fix this. I hope they don't buy this. And we don't want them to. It's not because we like to repair cars. It's just that we feel like it's just going to be a never-ending cycle of, comes in on a tow truck, we fix it, it leaves. 2 weeks later, something else breaks, comes back in on a tow truck. Well, we hope you guys enjoy the weekend and stay safe. Thanks for joining us. Thanks, Joel, for coming in. Tell us again where your shop is at.
We're located right by the Tempe Marketplace. We do all kinds of foreign and domestic cars, BMW specialists, all kinds of cars. Tempe, Arizona.
Right down the street from me. If you're looking for a good shop to start a relationship with, you want to make sure they're honest and competent, there's a list of them at bumpertobumperradio.com. While you're there, be sure to like us on Facebook. You're going to find a lot of great shops like Joel's. We will look forward to seeing you next week.
Hi, this is Greg LaFonsi of Automotive Diagnostic Specialties. Long name, right? But we have a short, simple goal. Customer satisfaction is our #1 priority, and everything else takes care of itself. Bumper to Bumper Radio approved. ADS is a family-owned and operated state-of-the-art repair facility that has an expert staff that for the 2nd straight year has earned the coveted AAA Top Shop Award as one of the best shops in the nation. Just east of I-10 on Chandler Boulevard. Find us at automotivediagnosticspecialties.com.
Is your love of golf driving a wedge between you and the missus? Wigwam Golf has just the solution. Introducing the Couples Golf League this summer. Bring your better half for a night on the links with other couples. For just $30 per couple, you and yours will enjoy 9 holes and a beverage every Thursday at 4 o'clock. Play all summer and qualify to be named the season's champion couple and take home the grand prize. What's not to love? Visit wigwamgolf.com for more information.
Hi, Dave Riccio, owner of Tri-City Transmission and co-host of your Bumper to Bumper radio show. Did you know that 1 out of every 4 transmissions is replaced in air? Transmissions are the most complicated part of your vehicle and misunderstood by so many. At Tri-City Transmission, we diagnose over 200 transmissions every month. We know transmissions. Don't be a victim of transmission malpractice. Protect yourself with knowledge. Download our free tip sheet, Top 10 Reasons Transmissions Are Replaced in Air, repair at TriCityTransmission.com. That's TriCityTransmission.com.
The lazy days of summer are coming to an end, and the crazy days of back to school, daycare, and kids' sports are upon us. Hi, I'm Matt Allen, owner of Virginia Auto Service. Don't let servicing your car add to the chaos of your busy schedule. Live or work in Central Phoenix? Virginia Auto Service is right next door at 7th Street in Virginia. We'll pick you up and drop you off at your home or office, and for over 19 years, we've been Central Phoenix's trusted solution for auto repair and maintenance. Check us out at virginiaautoservice.com.